Michael Mastro. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Transformational Vedic Astrology. Today we're going to look at the chart for Kamala Harris, who just got nominated on Biden's campaign for vice president. If you look to the eastern horizon when she was born in 1964, you would see the constellation associated with Gemini rising at 1 degree. 1 degree, this rising sign degree becomes the most effective point of every house. Any planet that's within 5 degrees, like Mars, Sun, Rahu and K2, Saturn, Moon, and Jupiter all have a lot of impact in her chart. So first, we're going to look and see how the planets are operating. And in a Gemini chart, there are no multicultural signs in the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house, the challenging Dusthana houses. So Rahu and K2 become the only functional malefics. That does not necessarily mean that they cause harm, but they can cause some harm from time to time. So we first want to look and see where the Multicultural sign falls, and to see what she's working on and what things she's learning about in this lifetime. So the Multicultural signs are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. And Multicultural signs are most planets rule 2 signs, and one of them there are more connected with. For example, Libra is ruled by Venus and Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is all about relationships, so it's more closely connected to Venus, Libra than it is to Taurus. So Libra becomes the Multicultural sign. So the first Multicultural sign is 1, which is Aries, ruled by Mars. So she's learning about how to create income and friends and setting goals. And then the second Multicultural sign is Cancer, ruled by Moon. It's in the 2nd house. So she's learning about wealth, how to create wealth, how to gain fame, and how to create stability in the family. Then the next one is the 5th sign of Leo, ruled by Sun in the 3rd house. So 3rd house has to do with success through performing through communication. The next Multicultural sign is the 6th sign of Virgo, ruled by Mercury. That's in the 4th house. So she's learning about how to become happy through family. And then the next Multicultural sign is Libra, ruled by Venus in the 5th house, learning about how children, creativity, investments, and education. So she was very involved in her education. The next Multicultural sign is Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter in the house of partnerships. Politics is all about partnerships. The next Multicultural sign is Aquarius, ruled by Saturn in the 9th house, learning all about government, politics, and spirituality. So those are the Multicultural signs, and now we're going to look and see how the planets are operating in her chart. So first we'll look at Sun. Sun is at 4 degrees. Any planet that's less than 5 degrees, we say, is in infant state. Any planet that's more than 5 degrees, like Mars, is said to be in old age. Infants and older persons have a hard time protecting themselves or their significations. So these planets, if they're less than 5 and more than 25, are said to be weak. Along with if they're in the 6th, 8th, or 12th, like Jupiter in the 12th house, it's weak. It's not only weak in degrees, but its placement is weak because it's in a challenging house. Then if a planet is afflicted by Rahu or K2, they can also become weak. If in the Navamsa chart a planet is debilitated, like Jupiter, it also becomes weak. If a planet is combust too close to the sun, like Mercury, it becomes weak. If the landlord of a house is weak, then the planet, even if it's strong, it can't be any stronger than its landlord. So those are how planets become weak. And again, weakness just means they have a hard time promoting their own significations. So Sun is slightly weak, close to the most effective point, so it has some impact. And it is ruling this third house of success and communication and business. And it is placed in the house of children, investments, and education, creativity. So it says that the father does not give good support. So the mother got divorced when she was 7 and left and was pretty much absent. So lack of support from the father. It's conjunct Mercury in the same house, so it gives good communication skills. Good, and Sun itself gives political organizational executive skills, so helped with the politics. She got pretty good education, and the top of her class. And so, yeah, good management, planning skills, all good for her political career. Sun itself is politics. Moon is also slightly weak at 4 degrees. It is ruling the house of wealth, recognition, and stability in the family. So, and it's aspected by Sun within 5 degrees. So, and Mercury. And so, and also Saturn. So, Moon is, working with the public, gives compassion, strong support from mother. My mother gave her really good, influence in her wanting to be a politician, to change, if you don't like the way things are, and work to help in politics to improve things. So, so she gave good wealth and recognition through public service in politics, and gave her compassion for those who cannot help themselves. Mars is at 27 degrees, also close to the most effective point. Aspects the fifth house, the eighth house, and the sixth house. It's also weak in degrees, old age. It's ruling the house of income and friendships. So, and it's placed in the second house. So it gives Mars itself is courage, passion, competitive spirit. She's a fighter for justice and for having Moon there, also for the public. Justice for the working class, passion. She's very penetrating and relentless in her ability to, question people in legal situations. Can be a little bit inflammatory. Mars is inflammatory. I mean, her speech can be very critical. Mercury's at 8 degrees. It's conjunct Sun also, aspecting Moon. And it is ruling the house of happiness through family. And so family is very important to her. And Mercury is all about communication, analytical abilities, makes her very critical of in politics, and also she worked hard to improve domestic issues. That dads who were not paying child support and domestic abuse issues. Jupiter's at 0 degrees. It's ruling the house of relationships and partnerships, and it says that you can work in foreign places. So she's from California, but working in D.C. In the Senate. So Jupiter is placed in the 12th house. So Jupiter itself is law, politics. Again, it's weak, and it also represents husband and children. So there was a delay in the marriage and less children. She has no children of her own, only stepchildren. It aspects fourth house, sixth house, and eighth house. So she is good at writing. She wrote her own autobiography, I think, and good at law. And being in the 12th house, she's involved with prison reform, the death penalty, immigration, all of that's connected to the 12th house. So Venus is ruling the house of children, education, and investments, placed in the house of communication and business. So it gives her beauty, good education, a desire to help children, law and legal ability to counsel people, she's very involved in legalizing marijuana as a Venus also represents drugs that help people. Saturn is at 5 degrees. It's her strongest planet. In this type of a Vedic astrology, we don't see Saturn as malefic, only if it's placed in the 6th, 8th, or 12th house, or ruling the 6th, 8th, or 12th house, excuse me. So in this case, it's in its own sign of Aquarius, in the 9th sign, and so it gives strong ability to serve in politics, hard work, discipline, caring for the masses. Aquarius is, that helping the masses, public reforms. So it is also aspecting the house of income and moon. So again, giving good ability to work for the public. So Rahu and K2. So Rahu and K2, Rahu gives desire for fame, and K2 gives a little bit critical about your relationships. So delay in the relationships, very, very much focused on career. And that's a balance that she needs to have between work and family. So let's look at the timing events, because not everything happens at once. Now, Rahu and Ketu being close to the most effective point, they affect the first house, the 7th house, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th house, and the 9th house. So from time to time, they can cause some issues, but basically this gives her charisma, fame, ability to be persuasive in her speech. So it's really helped, I think, her political career, this Rahu. Now, let's look again at the timing of events. So she was born in a K2 full moon sub period. So it gives her, that's the root of the tree of life, so strong purpose to serve the public. Mom, very close to her mom. Her mom was a bigger supporter. She died in 2009 during the Mercury period. Mercury rules the house of motherhood and family. And let's see here. Got married in a Rahu period, Rahu aspecting the house of partnerships. She started, let's see, she was elected to the Senate during a Rahu-Jupiter period. Jupiter is basically politics, desire for politics. She started her presidential campaign during a Rahu-Saturn period. Saturn, again, all about politics and desire for politics. Ended in that same period due to lack of funds. And then she got the VP pick on the 12th. This should say 8/12. Or yes, excuse me, it was yesterday. So it was the 11th during a Rahu Mercury period. So again, Rahu, all about that charisma and fame and strong identity. Mercury is all about communication. So also what was happening yesterday, if we look at the transit chart, we see that Rahu and K2 close to the most effective point, as well as Mars. Mars is very close to the most effective point in the house of career. So boost in the career, basically. Mars is strong and well placed. Well, it's in the career house and it's giving income to the career. So let's look at the election day this year, November 3rd, 2020. Mars is very strong and well placed. So should give good support to Biden. And then if you look at the election in 2024, I think it's November 7th, she's her Saturn is very strong. So Saturn is her best planet, brings good fortune. So gives her good support there as well. So let's see what happens. What can we do to strengthen this chart? So we know that most of the planets except Saturn are weak. So wearing a kavash containing the Devata yantra for Mercury, Sun, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Moon, and Saturn would strengthen all of those planets, supporting her career and family life and prosperity and health. She could also wear the individual stones, but she'd have to wear all of them to get the best effect. So emerald for Mercury, wearing green on Wednesdays, rubies for Sun, wearing orange on Sundays, white for Venus, wearing white on Fridays, and a diamond. So she probably has that, a wedding ring. Jupiter, yellow sapphire, wearing yellow on Thursdays. Moon, wearing white on Mondays, and a moon pearl. And then blue sapphire on Saturdays. But the Saturn's already pretty strong. So then you want to transform Rahu and K2 with chants and charity. So helping people that cannot help themselves for Rahu, and listening to uplifting spiritual chants. And then for K2, helping spiritual organizations and listening to uplifting spiritual chants. Could be Ganesh mantra, could be Shiva mantra. So that's the chart for Kamala Harris. Thank you for listening. Again, my name is Michael Mastro with Vastu Creations. If you're interested in getting your chart read, you can go to Vastu Creations under services. If you're interested in learning Vedic astrology, you can go to American Institute of Vastu.com and take the classes and become certified as astrologer. Thank you again for listening.